Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we are doing another monthly check-in. Today we are going to do our check-in for the month of July, and I'm going to talk about my trip to Mexico, how it went. Mostly I'm going to talk about the manga that I bought and how I went about buying it, but not in a lot of detail because I want to do a haul video. I'm just going to talk about generally what I did in Mexico, and I'm going to talk a little bit about stuff like that. And then I'm going to talk about all the books that I read because I basically finished my TBR. You guys can't see them, but that's basically all that I have left, which is 2 manga and 1 book. So I'm going to probably do an update section for this as well. And then we're going to do a bit of a kind of like what's going to happen in the future for this video or for this channel, because I am going back to university quite soon in August, and I am kind of busy in the second half of July and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, this video was actually supposed to go up on Friday, but I'm gonna do it on Saturday, and then on Sunday I'm gonna do Saturday's video because I don't like missing days like that. But basically the reason why this isn't going up on the 16th is because I'm tired and I'm recording it on the 16th. But basically what happened is that I got home from the 15th, on the 15th from Mexico much later than I thought I was going to. And then I didn't get any time to do this recording stuff early in the day. So I didn't get to have time to edit it and stuff before the end of the night. And I don't like releasing videos really late, like after 6, because then they do bad. I mean, worse than they usually do. So yeah, if I'm gonna put in the effort for this, I would like it to at least get some good stuff out of it. So I'm gonna put it up on Saturday, and then put Saturday's video up on Sunday. Now, I'm gonna be a little bit off, like energy-wise, because I haven't recorded in like 2 weeks. So hopefully it's not horrible. But yeah, my trip to Mexico was wonderful. It was really enjoyable. I got to see a lot of family members that I hadn't seen in almost 2 years. I got to connect with some people, like some friends that used to live here that now live over there. And yeah, it was nice. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of great food. I had a lot of fun. I actually even celebrated my birthday over there, and it was actually really nice. It was a kind of a slow day. Like we didn't really do much, but we had some good cake and some red velvet. And a good lunch that I made, so that was pretty cool. And basically, like, I just really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of good interactions with my family members, with my extended family, like my dad and my mom's brothers and siblings and kids and stuff. So it was pretty cool. Or like my parents' brothers' kids, which are my cousins, right? So it was pretty nice. And also because my parents had to do a lot of like management type of stuff, like, I don't know, go to banks and crap. I don't know how to describe it, or what is called in English. We ended up going to a lot of malls, and so I went to a lot of different stores hunting for manga. It was actually really cool. I thought about recording it, but then I decided that it was going to be really odd. And as much as I like YouTube and doing videos, I'm still not confident enough to walk around with a what's it called, with a camera and record myself talking, especially not when I would have to do it in a different language than everyone, so people would like be curious about what I was doing, because Mexican people are kind of nosy when it comes to stuff like that. So I didn't record any of it, but I did actually end up doing a lot of manga shopping. Well, I actually only ended up buying 10 books, and although out of the 20 something that I have for my upcoming Mexican manga haul video, I only bought about 10 of them, because the other ones were bought in June online, right? So I didn't actually get to buy as many as I wanted to, but there was a few different reasons for that. One is that I wasn't prepared to find manga at the places that I found them at. Like, I went to specialty stores, and I went to like general department stores that have like a magazine rack, and I found a lot of manga there. But the time that I found like the right store, like this thing called the Panini Point, which is essentially like the manga company itself, Panini Manga, has a store where they sell a bunch of manga, and they usually are really well stocked because they're directly from the publisher. I didn't actually have enough cash on me at that time, and I couldn't use my credit card, or because it's like you can't use it internationally without providing like information about it beforehand. So I didn't actually get to buy all the manga that I was looking for, but I did manage to at least visually see it. So I'm gonna order it online and have it delivered to my grandma's house for next time I go, or next time she comes up, she can bring it to me. So yeah, but I went to a few different stores. I went to these two stores called Liverpool and Sanborn's, which are essentially department stores, and they usually have like really high class kind of things, like very expensive commodities, and like basically like Sears or JCPenney, but like expensive, like very expensive. However, they do have a section where it's like books, because like I mentioned in my rambling video for this month, which is up there, Latin Americans, or at least Mexicans, view reading and books as some kind of like higher class activity, or like a not a thing that not the general populace does. So like books end up in that kind of store. I mean, there's like regular bookstores, but bookstores are also kind of seen in that kind of like way. So they have a section where there's like magazines and comic books, and they also have a section for manga within the same kind of like department store or library section. And so I managed to buy some manga there. And then I found that store that I mentioned, Panini Point, in this mall that I was not expecting to go to, which is pretty nice because now I know that there's one there and I can go to that mall whenever I need to. And basically I went to each of these stores that I'm mentioning in a different mall. And then I also got to go to City Center, Monterey City Center, or yeah, I guess that's what it would be called. And while I was there, because I was visiting a friend of mine, he took me there, and I went to this place called Plaza de la Tecnología, which is Technology Plaza. And this is kind of like a big bazaar, like Bazaar, which is like a store, I guess, where like people set up like little local shops. And it's all about like otaku, nerdy kind of like weeb stuff, as well as technology. And one of the stores there is called Usagi Dokame, which is a big kind of like Mexico-wide thing or store or company, I guess, that sells manga and comic books, right? And I had actually contacted the Monterey version, or the Monterey branch, on Facebook, and I asked them, hey, can you guys help me out? I'm looking for these books. Do you guys happen to have them? They said no to a lot of them. However, I managed to get other books that I was looking for. And then they, you know, separated them, or took them out of the bookshelves and put them away for me so I could go pick them up. I don't know what that's called in English, but like they I don't know what to call it, but they did that, and then I went to pick them up and I just paid for them and I left, which is really cool. And they also do international shipping, but I didn't actually manage to get information about that because the girl that was working as a cashier didn't really know about it. So I'm going to have to talk to them later. I'll probably end up calling them because texting in Spanish is a little bit difficult for me, but I mean, it works. It's fine. And then obviously I went to pick up the books that I bought in June that went to my grandma's house. So I ended up with a lot of different manga, and I'm actually really happy with it. I'm going to make a like its own separate manga haul video, which should be up on Monday. But yeah, that's essentially my trip to Mexico. It was really nice. If you guys want to see the food or the manga, or like my reading throughout the month, you guys can actually go to my Instagram, which is at HobbiesofaMan. And you guys can check out the stories, or the story highlights that I have. I have one for food, I have one for TBRs, and I have one for hauls. So you guys can check out those videos there. But I mean, I am going to make videos about it here on the channel, right? So that's it for that. It's been 10 minutes already, but hopefully I can condense this down a bit. But yeah, let's start with what I actually read this month so far. And it's basically my whole TBR. Like I said, I only have Rent a Girlfriend 1 and 2, and then Ag and Core left to read, and everything else has been read so far. And I have a lot of, reviews to do, but they'll probably end up spanning over into August, right? So let's get into it. So The first thing I read was Gundam Thunderbolts. Now, this one's kind of confusing. Like, I didn't really understand what was going on. And not because I didn't know Gundam, but because I wasn't really sure what the kind of like baseline start of the story for this was, because it does feel like very kind of like you kind of have to know a little bit about Gundam, not like the actual characters and the lore about it, but more of the kind of style of Gundam in order to understand it. But other than that, I was pretty happy with it. The art here is pretty badass. It looks really, really nice. The mechanical design is off the charts. It's very awesome. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. And the story was pretty interesting once I kind of understood a little bit about it. But this is definitely one that needs to be reread before I read Volume 2. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I thought it was really good. I really did enjoy it. And I am looking forward to picking up more of it. There's some cool Gundam designs here in the back. And I might actually get one of these to build on the channel, but I'm not really sure which one yet. Also, because I think most of these are MGs, not HGs, so they're going to be a little bit more expensive. But hopefully it's not anything too outrageous. Then I read Fire Force, Volumes 1 and 2. There you go, that's Volume 1, and this is Volume 2. And I actually really did enjoy it. I liked the end of Volume 1 because it was kind of like a tournament arc, but then it got bait and switched in Volume 2. Ended up being like not a tournament arc, but rather a kind of like setup for a mystery event, which is pretty cool. And I also really like this volume because they introduced Princess Hanabi, which is this kind of like somewhat villainous figure or a kind of antagonistic force that we're going to have within Fire Force. And I'm actually really happy with that. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to reading more of it. I think the art is great. The fan service aspect is kind of odd because it kind of like happens when you wouldn't assume fan service would happen. But it is pretty funny, so I don't really mind it. I mean, I really don't mind fan service in general anyways, but like some people would definitely argue that it's not at the right time, and so that is kind of negative. But I mean, usually I think it's fine, and I think that it works well, and kind of provides a good sense of levity. But story-wise, I think it's very good. It's very interesting. I love the fact that every firepower that has shown up is different from any of the other ones, because it's a very basic concept that you probably wouldn't think has a lot of dynamic like possibilities or like differences between each power. But so far, there's been no power that's exactly the same, and I really like that. I think that's very cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of these fire-based powers show up. So yeah, then I read Eden Zero, Volume 7, 8, and 9, and I actually reread these. This is like my second or third time reading these volumes, and I really enjoyed it. As always, number 9 was great because I love Witch so much. She's my favorite character. She's not the most developed character in the series, but she's my favorite design-wise, and I love how cute she is when she ends up being cute. But generally, I think she's so badass, and I really love this chapter specifically, or this volume specifically, because she was super badass in one of these scenes where she shows off her powers when she's the Steel Sorceress, I think it's what it's called. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this one is my favorite. This is my favorite spread. I actually want to figure out if I can find this digitally so I can have it. But yeah, I love Witch so much. She's so cool, and her battle dress is so awesome. Battle dress is this, but yeah, very cool. I really liked the ending of the Sun Jewel arc, which is here in Volume 8. And I really like how the characters kind of tie together, like Homura and Lady Kurenai and stuff like that. And the way that they interact and the way that the characters are linked together is very interesting. And it ends up being very cool. And it has that kind of weird, like, oddly very emotional and very, like, impactful kind of thing that Mihiro Mashima does very well. And I liked it a lot. Next, I read Dreaming Sun Volumes 1 and 2. I reread Dreaming Sun Volume 1, and I was actually kind of bored with it because I don't know why, actually. I don't know why I said because. But I think it's because I was rereading it, and because there really isn't that much here. I mean, there's an interesting kind of concept and a little bit of a kind of meaningful idea here of kind of loneliness being experienced because you're not understanding what your parents are kind of trying to achieve. But I don't know, I thought it was kind of odd that I got bored. I don't know, the story was okay. Volume 2 was significantly better, but this is because this is new content. However, I don't know, I felt like it was a little too melodramatic. Like, it was dramatic in a kind of like over the top way, and I didn't really like it. I think the kind of love plot here, the kind of idea that the main female character is like in love with one of the male protagonists is kind of odd, because like she's only interacted with him like 5 times. I don't really understand why she would be in love with him. I mean, at most I would understand her being happy that he's around, but like they kind of blew it out of proportions, and I thought that was kind of odd. And I guess that's just kind of like par for the course for shoujo, much the same way that ridiculous over the top powers are kind of a thing in battle shonen. I'm not really sure. I thought it was okay. I didn't dislike it, but I did find it to be a little bit kind of unnecessarily dramatic, if that makes sense. And then that's what I read here in the US before my trip, the 3rd of July. Then I took some time over the trip to read a lot of books, and I actually ended up reading quite fast once we got to my grandma's house and stayed there, because she lives like kind of away from the city, so there really isn't much to do. So I actually had a lot of time to read, right? And so the first things that I read while I was still in Monterey were Eden Zero Volume 10 and Volume 11, which I really enjoyed. I thought both of them were really great. I really liked the introduction of the time travel gimmick, or the time travel trope or idea. Really more of a power, and I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really awesome. Draken Joe continues to be this kind of like crazy, badass, psycho, evil guy, like significantly actually evil, in like a kind of understandable way, and not in that kind of really ridiculous, over the top, like phony way that is common in fairy tale. Like, Dragon Joe is evil, but he's not evil like in a good versus bad kind of way. He's evil in the sense that like he's directly opposing our characters, and so he's bad because he doesn't share the morals of our characters, if that makes sense. It's like he's evil in the sense, or in the same way that other pirates are evil in One Piece, right? Like, they're generally bad guys, but like they're evil because they don't agree with our main character, right? So it's kind of interesting. I thought it was really cool. Dragon Joe is so badass. Like, he's just such like I don't know, like a man. I don't know. He's so cool. He's so badass. It's very interesting. And Volume 11 was really awesome, specifically because we got to see everyone in battle dress, but because here, so you guys know what I'm talking about, battle dress right there. But also because we got that time travel thing, and we got to see like our main characters kicking ass now that they know how to battle these bad guys, right? And I don't know, it's very interesting. I left off at a very cool point, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in Volume 12. And of course, I think we're up to Volume 15 in Japan right now, so there's a lot of stuff to go. I might actually end up buying the Azuki app so I can start reading Eden Zero and Fire Force digitally, but I don't really want to do that, because if I read them digitally, I'm not going to want to buy them physically, and I actually really want to buy them physically, so I don't know what to do in that sense, because I don't know, I'm like, if I'm already spending a little bit of money to get all of the access to all of these things, I don't want to actually buy or end up spending a lot of money to own them, right? So I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that. I might just like not buy the app until I finish collecting Fire Force and Eden Zero, but I'm not really sure. So yeah, then once I was actually at my grandma's house, I started reading a lot, and I finished everything that I took with me. So first I read Reina 7 Spellblades. Actually, I think I read this one in Monterey, but I finished it in my grandma's house. So yeah, Volume 2 is very interesting. It kind of starts a tournament arc, but in a kind of interesting way. It's not really a tournament arc in the sense that like everyone's fighting each other in a very organized way. It's like literally just like everyone has to fight other people whenever it's possible, and we get to see a few different battles, and it's very good. I really enjoy it. Again, it has this kind of edge to it. It has a darkness to the magic that I think is very good, and it actually sets it apart from its like base, which is very Harry Potter like. So I think it's very nice. I think the development between our characters is really good. We kind of get introduced to this ability, kind of similar to Nymphadora Tonks's Metamorph Magus powers, but it actually isn't like she can change how she looks, but rather one of the characters can change genders, and it actually changes up how like the magic works for them. It's very interesting. I think it was very cool. I don't have any problems with it. Like I would assume that some type of readers might not like it because it's kind of like I don't know. There's a certain political edge to it here in the U.S. to something like that, but I thought it was really good. I thought it was very interesting. I don't really have the right vocabulary to talk about it without being offensive because I don't really interact with things of this sort. I usually kind of avoid it because I don't want to get trapped in these like political debates that shouldn't really happen because everyone has the right to live the way they want to. But like, I don't know. I thought it was very good. It was very interesting. I think I wouldn't know if they're like properly male and then properly female at those given times, or if they're like intersex, or if they're like trans or something. I don't know what the right kind of wording for it, but basically it's a very interesting power system or power magic thing that happens that I thought was very good. And I don't know, overall I thought it was very interesting to see the development of characters. I actually really liked Chella's development. I thought she was really fun. And yeah, overall, very good stuff with Reign of the Seven Spellblades. I can't wait for Volume 3. Then I read Solo Leveling Volume 2, and this one was great as well. It has this kind of sense of like there being a lot of information, and I think it's because it's a light novel and it doesn't have any illustrations. But overall, I thought it was very good. It was very easy to read. I actually read it immensely fast. But it did have a feeling of like thickness, of like there being a lot of stuff in it. But it was very good. I thought it was very enjoyable. It continues to be very basic in premise. Like, it's just like Jinwoo just like killing the shit out of everyone or everything. But there's kind of this like element of badassness to the way he does it that isn't like manufactured. Like, he just really does feel like a badass instead of like the author being like, hey, this guy is a badass. Can you guys tell that he's a badass? Like in a lot of Japanese style light novels, right? And he's not really like edgy in that sense. So like, I think that's why he actually feels like a badass instead of like, Kirito or whatever, not feeling badass. Cause it's like, dude, you're just like a shitty Chinubi character. Like, stop it. I don't know, but I thought it was really good. I really liked the development of the powers and just the fact that there's this mystery to how Jinwoo's powers work, what Jinwoo is like it seems like he's not a human. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not really sure, but like that's not really a spoiler, so don't worry. And then we get some developments with new characters that show up that have connections with the previous characters introduced that I thought was very cool, very interesting. There's basically this like massive mystery being developed now, and I think that's going to be very good, because honestly, if it continued to just be Jinwoo leveling up, it would kind of get boring. But the fact that there's so much more stuff like in the background, and there's things to add and remove, and like there's storylines that are happening outside of Jinwoo, it actually makes the story a lot better and actually ends up being very enjoyable. So yeah, if you guys like these kind of like isekai lit RPG kind of stories, I definitely recommend Solo Leveling, both in the light novel format, or if you guys want to go with the hype with the comic book version, the manhwa. But either way, I think you guys should just read the story because it's good. Whichever version you like is up to you, but generally I think it's very well done, very well realized. So yeah. Then I read Captain Harlock volumes 1, 2, and 3. And this is basically like Space Battleship Yamato, but like the main character is Han Solo, essentially. That's basically what it is. And it actually is pretty good. I thought it was kind of slow, the first volume. Like, I understand what the point is, and I understand that there's kind of this, like, big thing going on and being set up. But, like, I don't know, it doesn't really work that well. So I'm not really sure. Like, it was slow going, and it had a lot of the, like, emphasis on these ideas of, like, manliness and, like, stoicness and, like, emotion and stuff like that. And it was a very, like, emphasis, there was a lot of emphasis, sorry, on these ideas of, like, honor and duty, and a man is this and that, and a woman is this and that I thought was okay. Like, you could definitely tell it's from its, like, time. And I don't necessarily think it's anything that is said is bad. Like, it's not, like, misogynistic or anything. But it is kind of, like, odd feeling for us, like, today. But I thought that the emphasis on that was kind of odd because it overshadowed the emphasis on, like, the fight between humans and aliens, right? And I think that's because I was expecting a more action-based story instead of a, like, more thoughtful kind of mental story. So I think that's mostly on me for having incorrect expectations instead of, like, the story for not delivering. But basically, we do get this exploration of, like, what it means to be human, and what if humans come from something else, and what if the thing that created us doesn't want us to be alive anymore, and stuff like that. It was a very interesting kind of mental idea, mental kind of exploration of what it means to be human. But I thought it was also kind of, like, odd. Like, it didn't really fit it in itself sometimes. So I don't know. I thought it was overall it was good, but, like, some of it could have been better. But I think that in general, like, story-wise, more people are going to enjoy Captain Harlock over Space Battleship Yamato. However, for me personally, I think that they're about the same. I think it depends on what you want. Like, if you want a whiny main character, you can read Space Battleship Yamato. If you want a more kind of, like, cool, calm, collected, well understood, or well realized individual as a character, then maybe Captain Harlock is better for you. But either way, I think it's good. Like, I think they're both good, and they both kind of have this same feel to them. And they both don't actually end. They kind of just, like, stop, and it's, like, continued later, but then it never continues, which kind of sucks. But generally, I thought it was okay. I liked it, and I thought it was good. And I'm down to read more Captain Harlock stuff. I want to pick up Captain Harlock Dimensional Voyage at some point, but I don't know when I'll actually end up doing that. But either way, I thought it was good and enjoyable, and it was really, cool. So, yeah, I also just really like these editions. They're very nice and well planned out, so that's pretty good. Then I read Vinland Saga. I read Vinland Saga Volumes 1, which was a reread, and then Volume 2 and Volume 3. I actually really ended up enjoying it. I really liked the first volume, but I think that at the time that I liked it because it was about Vikings, not necessarily because the story was good. Now I actually do enjoy it because the story is good, and because, like, it just works really nicely once you actually get into the meat and bones of it, or, like, the meat and potatoes of it, I guess. I don't know how to, that was a weird use of an expression, but, like, once you get into it and you actually bite into it, you actually will enjoy what the story is about. It's essentially a story to explore violence, right? Makoto Yukimura talks about it. He's trying to explore the themes of violence and understand why violence happens. And so he has a bunch of these characters in, like, the kind of understood most violent group of people, Vikings, which is kind of like a disservice. They weren't necessarily violent for the sake of violence. And it's not like they were the only violent people around, but, like, it's so we can explore it in a very interesting setting, right? And he has, like, people that are violent for the sake of violence, people that are violent in a religious sense, people that are violent because of revenge, and there's so many different things, right? And people that are violent because it's what they need to do in order to achieve a goal, right? And we get to see what it means to be a warrior and what it means to be, like, a violent person and stuff like that. And we get to explore this through a bunch of different characters. My favorite so far is probably Canute or Torkel. I think both of them are very interesting, and I really like them. And I think that the character growth we see from Canute and from our boy Thorfinn are actually very good and very interesting. So I really liked it. I thought it was very, like, nicely done. And I actually really want to read more stuff by Makoto Yukimura, like Planet Test. However, that's probably going to be very different, right? But like, I want to collect a lot more of his stuff, and I can't wait to read Vinland Saga Volume 4. However, I probably won't be buying it for a while, so I don't know when I'll get to it. But basically, I'm very excited to review Vinland Saga properly, and I really liked it, and I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read the rest of the story. So yeah, Vinland Saga was great. Then the last thing I read was Hellsing, Volume 1, Omnibus Deluxe Edition, Volume 1, which is pretty good. I don't know. I don't remember what I said in my initial review, but essentially, it's basically the story about a vampire that hunts vampires. And he is contracted to this organization called the Hellsing Organization. He is essentially the mascot of the woman in charge, and he basically hunts people, and we get introduced to a bunch of different characters that are antagonistic, helpful, or in some other way related to the story, right? And eventually, I'll put that down because it's fucking heavy, we get around to this idea that basically there's Nazis, and Britain has to fight Nazis, and the British organization Hellsing has to fight these Nazis that have created vampires. And it's a very interesting idea, but like execution wise, I think that it's only really enjoyable if you like those turn off your brain action movies. Like, I think there's a lot of symbolism and a lot of stuff to enjoy here if you like vampires. But if you don't like them, I don't think you would enjoy this unless you like violence and like gore and stuff like that. This series is full of interesting, like, designed characters. Like, the character design is very good. It has a lot of guns. It has a lot of blood. And it has a lot of, like, weird body horror imagery. So if you like that, and you like a very kind of basic but very well thought out plot line that basically leads to a lot of action, I think you'll be fine with it. But, I don't know. I thought, like, I enjoyed it, but it's not like my favorite thing ever. Like, it could have been a little bit better, like if there was a lot more story to it. But I also feel like I read it too fast to truly enjoy it. Like, I could have taken a little bit longer to read it because I was maybe rushing it a little bit so I could put it away. So I would like be able to pack my things. But I'm not really sure. Like, I thought it was good, but I also didn't like it as much as I originally thought I was going to like it. So I'm not really sure where I am with it. I think I need to reread it or sit down and kind of think about it a little bit before I have a good opinion on it. But that's basically all I read. The other thing that I read that I like started to read but didn't finish was the first volume of Dungeon Buster, which is a light novel. And it's basically a lit RPG kind of setup. But the main character is an accountant or like, some sort of accountant type of thing or like a legal person. And he's kind of obsessed with efficiency and doing well. And so he kind of ends up like looking at dungeons as a kind of like thing to overcome. And he doesn't do it in a very fantasy kind of way. He does it very like by the book, by the rules of business. And I thought it was really good. So far, I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of odd because like the female characters are designed in a very like fan servicey way, but like the actual story has like almost no fan service. Like there's mentions of like the main character actually like having sex and stuff like that, but like it's more like, oh yeah, we did it. It doesn't actually tell you, and it's kind of odd because there's like a dissonance between the way the art is displayed and the way like the characters are described and the way that like they actually act, if that makes sense. Like, looking at the cover and the illustrations, you would assume that there's a lot of fan service and that there's going to be like a lot of like kind of almost softcore kind of situations happening, but basically there are none. And it all it does is like admit that they did it, and then it's like, okay, moving on. Let's keep talking about the dungeon. And I thought it was kind of funny, but it is kind of odd because it doesn't fit with what you think initially about the series. So yeah, I mean, I read a lot of good stuff. I really enjoyed everything I've read so far. The only two things that I kind of had like a little bit of a unsureness about were Dreaming Sun and Hellsing. But I'm not going to get rid of Hellsing. I think this series is too cool to like just sell. But like, I don't know, I'll probably take a while to pick up volumes 2 and 3 of the deluxe editions. So yeah, that's basically it for the reading log section. In terms of like what I'm doing with the channel, okay, so today, Saturday, would be this, and then Sunday I'm gonna do a Kaiju number 8 video. I'm gonna do chapter 39, the review for that, and then on Monday I'll do a manga haul, and then after that I'll do a manga comparison, and then I'll go back to reviews. And the reviews are probably gonna end up happening from whenever I do the manga comparison video all the way to whenever I finish making videos for all the stuff that I read. However, I'm going to be busy for a few days in the last week of July, and then I'm going to start school back up in August, like mid-August. So I don't know how the schedule for videos is going to change to reflect that. I don't know if I'm going to stop doing as many videos once school starts in August, because, you know, when it was online school, I didn't really have that much to do. Like, it was really easy, and there wasn't a lot of like time wasting moments, like going to and from school and stuff like that. And since I was here at home, I didn't have to cook or anything. But once I'm back at university, living in my apartment with my roommates, there's gonna be a lot of more stuff that takes up time, so I won't have as much time to read. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do in terms of like this YouTube schedule. I'll probably end up knocking it down to 3 or maybe 2 videos a week, but I'm not really sure yet. But eventually I'll figure it out, and I'll probably tell you guys in the August check-in. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Have you guys gone on vacation this month? And if you did, what did you do? Did you guys buy anything cool this month? And of course, what have you been reading? So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And see you guys later. I just realized I did the outro twice, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyways. So yeah, bye.